the way men are now being, victimized. And a friend of mine was under the impression that as for the victimization of men or the vulnerability of men, it has always been there. You read of countless cases where, before DNA became a thing, you hear of cases where men have been taken advantage of.
That's true.
They've had to look after children that were not theirs. And some of these things they didn't even know throughout. So after looking after a child for about 20, 21 years, you realize it's not your child. Can you imagine how that person feels at that point in time? The person would be at their lowest point, at their most vulnerable point. And so that myth surrounding the fact that men are macho, men are strong, and they can't really, it's not true. And a lot of it also comes from the society we find ourselves in. There's a lot of burden on men because men are expected to behave in a particular manner. Men are expected to have a certain front. But deep down, for how long can you keep it? How long can you keep it?
What, in your opinion, what do you think vulnerability really is?
It is don't quote me, but basically to be vulnerable is just to be at your weakest point. Now, if you are deemed vulnerable when at a point in time you cannot fend for yourself, or when you are faced with a certain set of instances, you cannot pull through unless you have some kind of external help. Let me give you an example. Babies are vulnerable because from the day they're born till they probably become adults, they can't feed themselves, they can't clothe themselves, they can't change themselves.
That's true.
So every human being from point of birth to a certain stage is vulnerable because immediately you take away the structure that would make them survive, they would die. Okay. So anything that has the potential of making you weak is what you are vulnerable to. Me, that's how I see it. You?
I'm trying to look at vulnerability also from this angle where I am strong and courageous to be what I feel does not make sense to be. Let me use this instance. If I am to show up to you and in my authentic self, that Kofi, this is who I am, without really considering whether or not you would appreciate, accept, understand me for who I am. I think the fact that I am even opening up to you about something that I hold dear, I see that to be me being vulnerable. Something I would not ordinarily would want to share with anyone, but because of a kind of friendship I would want to build with you, I feel I open up about certain things about me that are difficult to talk about. So in the case where I'm telling you without really considering whether or not you will be appreciative of who I am, you would accept who I am, you would want to still
use it against you,
use it against me, I forgo all these thoughts and just open up about me to you because I feel you are worth hearing, knowing me for who I am, so that if we are discussing about something, you know the face value on which you be talking. So I see vulnerability from being courageous. I see courage in my vulnerability.
When it pertains to being yourself,
being
or expressing
myself.
yourself to someone else.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Because at the same time, it goes back to what my definition is. You see, once you open yourself up to someone and you let them know what your secrets are, you have basically weaponized the person. If I tell you, we're having a discussion before the cameras were rolling, and if you know what my source of income is, or you know that I derive my source of income from either person X or company Y, and then we have a difference in opinion on, let's even say, on social media.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, so that's where also social media vulnerability also comes in, but it's a whole mix. So if I have a difference of opinion with you on social media, and you go and tag my boss, or you go and tag the source of my income, it is because I let you know what I do or where I take it from.
So I know where to hit hard.
So you know where to hit hard. So it is again targeting your weakness, or using your weakness to gain some kind of unfair advantage over you. So it comes back to that, because when you open up yourself, that is when you also expose your vulnerability.
Yeah. So being vulnerable definitely means you are weak. That's another thing I'm trying to.
Well, I want to believe that everybody is weak.
Yeah.
It is the extent to which you expose your weakness that defines how strong you are. Okay. If I let everyone know how much money I have in my account, the banks I work with, where I get my money from, and it's out there in the open, what do you think I've done? I've made myself. Okay. I've exposed myself, so it's out there for anybody to take advantage of if they don't mean you well.
So then, which people should we be vulnerable around? Because now you've got me thinking a lot. Because I know I've been vulnerable around you, said so many stuff I shouldn't have even said, but I felt we talk every now and then. I feel if I'm discussing something with you, I need to talk to you as who I am, who you should know me to be, not someone I'm pretending to be. So that whatever you would say, you know from...
Based on...
Thank you. So whom should we be vulnerable around if we want to click, if we want to be accepted, risking the fact that we can be rejected or not?
If you ask me, times have changed and times are still changing. In the past, when you let a person know who you are, normally that knowledge is used to push a positive agenda. But I think over the past 15 to 20 years, what's been happening is now there's a paradigm shift. People now want to know what you are, to, again, like I said, to use it against you. So when you are armed with that knowledge, you must wake up in the morning knowing that when you meet 100 people, about 70 of them do not mean you well. You must wake up with that mindset. And that is what will guide you as to be who to flow freely with. So again, to make it simpler, you open up only to those whom you know for a fact, and those who you have tested over time, that if you let they know you as you are, or they know certain things about you, they will not use it to your disadvantage. That's how I see it. So it's a personal choice. Somebody like me, I don't think outside of my immediate tight circles of my wife, my parents, and maybe a few aunties and uncles, people not numbering about not more than 10. Yes. I know over 1 million people, but I don't think more than 10 people know me 360. And it is because I have studied the trend. And I also don't want to be caught up in any vulnerable situation. So to answer your question shortly, you must identify your inner circle. And normally keep it as tight as you can. And it is only to those people you can be yourself.
I think that's a lesson for me. Because I tend to trust so easily, and I feel we need to relate to people. Well, you're gonna think it. Yeah. And does being vulnerable make you a man? You know, that's another thing they say.
Like I said, being a man or being manly is a social construct. And when you are in West Africa, like some of us are, the expectations on men are so very high, and sometimes, frankly, sometimes unrealistic.
Mm-hmm.
Because men are held to some sort of higher standards.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I say this advisedly, than women are. They're expected to be the ones who face the hardships. They're expected to be the shoulders to be leaned on. That is the expectation. They're expected to be the ones, if there's a noise at night downstairs, you are the one who has to go and find out what's going on. Okay. And so it's some of these unrealistic expectations on men that, yes, I think men are extremely vulnerable, but I think also over time we have learned to have a thick skin, hold a lot of emotions, and yeah. But I think that's changing now too. I see a lot of strong women out there these days.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, very, very strong. And, you have to let me introduce you to some of them.
You're terrible.
I have to introduce you to some of them. You see that? No, there are women who are also very strong.
I know.
So, but tell me, David, can you straight off the top of your head, let me know instances where you felt at your lowest ebb, instances where you felt your weaknesses were used against you. Can you just share a few? Maybe two?
There've been quite a few. My recent one would be what happened to me on social media, where I thought I was sharing an opinion, yet people chose to interpret it differently, whether or not I was right. The feedback which they gave was really harsh. I'm naturally a quiet person, so these things really got me wondering. It made me quiet. I am quiet, but it made me quiet. It made me think. And I felt sad because I kind of lost some friends.
You almost lost me.
You know the best part? Everybody was criticizing. You called. Even your mode of criticism was something I hadn't experienced before. I think it made me vulnerable. It made me actually want to think and not mess myself up. So yeah, the manner at which you spoke broke me, and I think that was my very vulnerable moment. That was my very vulnerable moment. And another experience also would be when I used to teach. These two students, I thought they were sisters. After one class, the other one broke down. They came, and then she was like, she was all of a sudden remembering an abortion she had, that she wished she could have kept the baby. And that person I thought was the sister was like, whoa, abortion. And they've known themselves since they were children. She did not know that. And that broke me because I was like, the way she was crying, and I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what to say. I didn't know what to say, right or wrong. I just kept staring at them. That really got me in a very sober moment, very sad, because I felt there was nothing I could do, though I felt I could do something at the same time. So it really put me in that state where I knew I could do something, yet I did not know what to do.
Yeah.
How about you?
Well, vulnerable. Oh, me, I've been in vulnerable situations since I was 11 or 12. And you know, like I said, it takes so many forms. Growing up, I grew up in Nigeria, as most people know, and there are some tough kids I grew up with. Some very, very tough kids I grew up with. Yeah, let me give a shout out to Okocha. Okocha Chima, one of the toughest guys I came across. And you know, then I was a soft boy, Ghana boy, small boy. And a lot of my friends and colleagues or the people in our neighborhood were older than I was. And, of course, arguably too stronger. So from a very early stage, I was a victim of bullying.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I was bullied. I was bullied, and I'm sure that there are reasons behind it, but I don't want to put it out in the open for fear of damaging some delicate relationships. But yes, when you are different, you are bullied. When you are younger than you are bullied. So I went through a stage of being bullied until one day I realized that no, this can't happen anymore. I have to put a stop to this. Either I stop it or I die. So yes, I came to a personal conviction that I have to stop what is going on, and I stopped it.
Wow.
And it was an eye-opener because immediately I stopped it, I realized that the bullying was coming from point A, and B, C, D. But when I stopped point A, the value chain of the bullying immediately stopped. So it was, and I'm a very perceptive person. When I see something, it remains in my mind. I was okay, so this is how to deal with this sort of situation. When people think you're vulnerable, I want to take advantage of it. Sometimes you have to step up to them and stop them.
Where do you find the strength?
Inner. It won't come from anywhere. People will talk to you, but the final call comes from yourself. I cannot download bravery into you. It's not a software. So it's something you must find. And of course, you find it after talking to people, after taking, sampling people's opinions, and then picking what works for you.
Yeah.
But it's, at the end of the day, it is you. So I think basically, if you want to overcome your vulnerabilities, you must take it from within. You read around, you speak to people, sample ideas, and then even psychologists, or psychiatrists, when they are trying to get to the root problem or the root cause of any psychological problem you have, they don't go on the internet and pick a solution or some tablets and give to you. No, they talk to you.
You talk.
They delve into your mind.
Yeah.
They try to pick out the reasons you are here now, and they tell you that it was because of A, B, C, D, and E. So they still draw upon your personal experiences to fashion a solution for you. So ultimately, that tells me that every solution to every problem lies in you. You just need the correct guidance to bring the solution out.
I think I agree. Everyone has a story that is unique to them, and it's exclusively to them.
Yeah, tailor-made.
It is. And I'm thinking it's unfortunate that societies, that need to compare in society in order not to be rejected. We rather devalue our stories and experiences and the journeys we've been through based on who or whatever we would want to compare ourselves to in order to be accepted. And it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. It is unfortunate.
But again, I'll say that yes, but that's one good thing these kind of sessions are doing now.
Yeah.
And that's one reason I also thank God for the internet.
Yeah.
And one reason I also find a platform like Facebook very, 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 very healthy.
Yeah.
Because even though some people might disagree with me, you can tell the depth of a person's persona from the kind of things they do online.
Yeah.
You can have a general idea, at least 60 to 70%, you'll be right.
Yeah.
Based on what the person says, how he speaks, how he expresses himself. And so I think the internet or Facebook has become one of the best psychological tools of our era. Because it's allowing a lot of people to express themselves.
Yeah.
And it's also allowing a lot of people to disabuse impressions they had of people before they actually saw their nakedness, quote unquote, not the that nakedness that is putting some people somewhere. It's making them bring their nakedness out. And you're like, so this guy that I used to see walking up and down, this is how deep the person is. I personally have had that a lot.
Yeah.
You know, and a lot of other people also have.
Yeah.
So the internet is helping. So I think it's one of the best things to have happened in this century. It's allowing people to express themselves. It's allowing people to, and of course, all of this is the internet.
Yeah.
When you go on YouTube, it's the internet. Now, TV, traditional TV is dipping.
Yeah.
People go on YouTube. People go on. They want to see what's going on. It's normally on the internet. So yes, the internet is also helping bring some of these things down, and it's showing people day in, day out that there's more to life. There's more to people. There's more to situations than meets the eye.
Interesting.